Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be getting into the scriptures, and I'm going to be reading out of the book of Revelation, and I want to talk about Babylon. This is commercial Babylon, which is part of Babylon's system, and how they are so influential during the tribulation period, because Babylon is going to really work in concert with the Antichrist during the middle of the tribulation. And then at that point, the Antichrist is going to turn against them, and there's going to be a great fall. But I want to talk about this a little bit further as I extrapolate out of the book of Revelation, chapter 18. And I believe that God has a word for you today. So I'm going to give this devotional to you. But before I do, I want to ask you to smash that subscribe button right now. And if you could also like this video, it would be a blessing to me. So Revelation 18, talking about commercial Babylon and who this is and what is going to happen during the middle of the tribulation with Babylon. And it says, "And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And then the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." This is Babylon the Great during the tribulation period. In Revelation 18 and verse 1, I want to break this down a little further. It says, after all of these things, the one world system, the religious, the one world religion. This is now talking about commercial Babylon. I believe this is a place. I believe this is a location. And I believe this place is going to play a big part of, the end time prophecy. A lot of people say the United States isn't in the Bible anywhere. So I'm going to read these scriptures and see what you think, because I believe right here, this is talking about the United States of America. This is what I believe, but I'm going to give you my reasons why as I read it. It's symbolic for. Some people think it's Rome. Some people think it's somewhere in the Middle East. Some people think it's, a big country somewhere that's far away from the United States, but I do believe it's the U.S., but I'm going to give you my reasons. And it says, "And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power." This angel had great power. Now, we only know in the Bible there were two angels that were named, and they were great: Michael the archangel and Gabriel. These two are the only angels that are mentioned in the 66 canonized book and the inspired, infallible Word of God. And so this angel was a great angel. He had power, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. He was so much power and glory. The angel was so fresh from the presence of God that he was glowing, and the earth lit up, literally, because of his glory. He was with God, and the glory of God was just all over this angel. And they were in God's throne room. It was only the angels and God at that point when he was talking about these judgments that were falling on the earth. Now, Revelation 18 and verse 2, he says, "This angel cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen." So whoever this Babylon is, it has to be some place great. Now, here's the first thing I want to say. What country is more influential than the United States? What country is greater? What country has more power? You say, well, there's other countries rising up. All these years, all the way from the 1700s, when the country was founded in 1776, all the way up till now, the United States has been the most powerful militarily, economically. The United States has been more powerful than any country when it comes to trade. It's just, they're on the number one on the world stage. Whoever the U.S. president goes and visits, it's just like the big news, because they're the greatest, most powerful person on the face of the earth. And it says right here, literally, Babylon the Great is fallen. They were a great superpower, and they fell. And so this is why, one, I think that superpower is the United States. Then two, it says, and it's become the habitation of devils. So it's demonic. The United States, I believe, is very demonic. You say there's a lot of other places that are too. But yeah, look at everything around you. Look at what's going on. Pharmakia, it's right in the book of Revelation. I'm going to read it. And it talks about their sorceries. Sorcery, you look at the Greek, and that word sorcery means pharmakia. Who's pushing more drugs and pharmakia and pharmacy and these prescription drugs than the United States of America? And it says, Revelation 18:23 says, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. It was the greatest, most powerful light in the world. And the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for thy merchants with the great men of the earth, for thy sorceries, the sorceries, were all nations deceived. It was deceived by the sorceries of this place. Now, there's no country that pushes pharmacy and prescription drugs and the cost of it. This is nothing like the United States. More people are on that than anything. You go to the doctor and they want to, give you a pill, try to put you on drugs every time people go in. But not in every case, but in a lot of cases. But what does it say? It says they're demonic. And it says, and they hold in the hold of every foul spirit. That's demonic spirits. Look what everything that's going on, the violence, the shootings, the terrorism. You look at all the things that are happening, the immorality, people transitioning to this, transitioning to that. There's so many people that are anti-God, anti-Christianity, the apostasy of the church. I just look around you. There's a great falling away, and this country is decaying spiritually, morally, and financially. We're seeing it happen as the country is in debt, trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. We just see all these things happening. And it says, they're the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Okay? And then in verse 3, it says, for all nations have drunk the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So all nations have worked with them. All nations. This fornication represents idolatry, represents all kinds of, idol worship and immorality. And this is what this country represents in a lot of ways. This used to be a Christian nation, but it has drifted so far away. God has been pushed out of, government buildings. The 10 Commandments have been taken out. We just see so many things, how it's getting eradicated everywhere, trying to push Christianity out. Now it's still there, but God is being pushed out in so many places. And in the United States, it says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Babylon influenced all nations with their idolatry. This is what was going on, and this is what is happening right now. And this is, if you read it, literally, who else is this talking about? Then, here's something that's really powerful. It says, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Many were made rich because of Babylon's abundant luxuries. Now, just look at all the trade. What happens if the United States struggles? It causes all other countries to struggle too. You know how many countries rely on our exports and imports and trade? And, we trade with every country. We do trade. We see tariffs going on a lot of countries right now, and there's trade battles going on as we speak with the President of the United States. But countries were being blessed by Babylon's luxuries. And so I believe this right here is the United States. What's going to happen? It's going to fall, and great is going to be the fall of it. It says the city's going to burn up, and it's going to collapse. There's going to be all kinds of things that are going to hit because this country has not repented. And if the country repents, then God will give space. But until then, we don't see that right now. So that's why we need to pray for the United States. So that's who I believe it is, and that's what I believe the Word of God is talking about. I'll have another video up for you soon. I'll be doing more and discussing more about Babylon as we continue to do these devotionals. So God bless you, and I also want to say thank you for watching.